If you can hear me, clap once. If you can hear me, clap twice. If you can hear me, clap 3 times. Bruce wants to talk.
All right, we'll start with the 7th graders. As you heard me last week, all of our study groups are going to have a couple of different weeks assignments for our ushering. And for the next 4 weeks, maybe 5 weeks, I'm going to be gone. So I've already got the guides and the groups lined up, starting with the 7th graders specifically. Guides and kids, pay attention here, because starting next week, our first group is going to be with Amanda and Jess. There you guys, okay? So you guys will have next week, and you've got some seasoned 7th graders who were big helpers last year. So remind your kids in small group tonight and twist their arms and make sure they're here. Then, no confirmation for MEA. So then on the 23rd, Beth and Becky, you guys have got the 23rd. Right? Okay.
It is. I'm just days we don't
Yeah,
know.
so-
Probably Beth, I'm not gonna ask.
Okay. So you guys have got the 23rd.
Got it.
The 30th. Jen and Jeff, where are you guys there? You guys have got the 30th with your munchkins, okay? On the 6th, Teresa. You guys have got the 6th. On the 13th, Sean and Lindsay, you guys have got the 13th. And then the 20th, Ashley.
Are you going to the 6th grade there?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. So the Steinmetzes and Ashley.
You're going to be the first 6th grade group.
I also will be emailing this out to everyone. So we'll make sure you guys have this in writing as well.
Okay, so guys, especially with 7th graders, again, please help me here because I still have to recruit an adult that I can hand this off to, and he or she's going to know then who to expect while I'm gone.
And you can rely on me guides. So if you need help with any of these, the ushering type of stuff, come and talk to me. I can help you out, no problem.
These 7th graders, they've done it last year. They've seen everybody do it, so it's going to work just fine. Thank you all.
Thank you, Bruce. Woohoo! All right. Well, welcome to confirmation tonight, everybody. Thank you much, 7th graders. A couple announcements before we jump into things. Tonight we are going to be getting into our small groups in our rooms for the first time, so I do want to reiterate to all of you, again, want to reiterate to all of you, be extra respectful of the rooms you are in. Many of you are in rooms that are served by the preschool or the autism center or the crafters or the quilters. All of these people make use of these rooms too. So please be extra respectful of the rooms. I believe I got into all of them with the exception of Tracy's and Teresa's room tonight to set up tables and chairs, so you should be set to go. You guys will have some chairs and tables ready to go as well. In everybody's rooms is a big stack of Bibles, the blue Bibles that has the name of your room on top. The sheets that are in your guides kind of walk you through that, but just so you know that if you guys, any confirmation student that does not have a study Bible, grab one. That is yours to keep forever and ever, amen. If you got one the previous year and you lost it, take another one. We have these Bibles for you specifically. That's what they are for. There's a place to sign your name. When you get those Bibles, sign your name. Guides, you can fill in the spot that says presented by on behalf of Calvary, so we get those all out to people that way. Trying to think of...
Do that too.
Yes.
Please do that in your small groups, guys. You sign them, students sign yours. It is your Bible forever. We don't want it to stay here.
Yes, take it with you, make use of it, and it has so much incredible information. I was actually going through the study Bible again tonight and getting ready for tonight's lesson, and there's just so much wealth of information when it comes through to paging through, like, just the things about, like, what is the Old Testament, what is the New Testament, what are the Gospels, where do these books come from? Take some time to just page through and read them, because it's super, super interesting. Yes, Ashley? I love that. Great question. Ashley's asking me if we should make sure that our Bibles stay pristine and never get written in, make sure the corners aren't bent. No. Write in these Bibles. If you have a note that you want to make, if you want to have a doodle that you want to make, if you want to underline a word, these are your Bibles. Use them in the way that suits you the most, to be the most effective. So don't worry about like getting them scuffed, getting them drawn in. That's what they're for. They're to be used, to be read, to be experienced. So great question, Ashley. Awesome. Any other questions before I jump into things? Okay. Is there anybody who does not know which small group you are in? If there is a question about that, following large group, come and find me. I have the list. If small group leaders, you don't know what room you're in, come and find me. I have the list. Okay. Jumping into things. Before we jump into the official lesson, I want to talk through acolyte training. You guys have had this before. You guys, not so much, but it's good review for everybody. A very good review for everybody. So I have a question. What is this thing? It's got a wick. That's part of it. Candle, part of it. Isaac? I really like that. Isaac asked if it's like a shepherd's crook. That makes sense, right? It's kind of like a cane. It might have symbolism for that. I don't know. It's a candle lighter is really what this thing is. And it's got two pieces. The first one is the wick, as someone over here called out, which is right here. The second part is the bell, which is used to snuff something that is burning. There is one moving part on this for you guys to be aware of. That little thingy right there. That's right. This thing controls the length of your wick, right? You can put it down, you can put it up, all that stuff. Now, something that's really important for you to know is that when you light the candle lighter, when you are an acolyte, you don't want to give it a ton of wick because then it's going to burn like crazy and it's going to go a little nuts and it's going to drip down everywhere. That's no fun. You want to keep it right about an inch or two of wick. Yes, Maddie, you had a question? Maddie, yes, you remembered. Perfect. So, Maddie brought up this question. Once I'm done with it and I want to snuff out the flame, the best way to do that is to go like this and then leave it there, right? No. If I leave it like this, all the wax that was on this string for the wick is going to like solidify and stick to the inside of this thing, and it's really hard to fix when that happens. I spend like 15 minutes in the sacristy trying to like get hot water to melt it out and scrape it out. Please, please, please. When you put the fire out like that, always push this back up far enough that it's not going to melt on the inside. Okay? So, once again, what do I do next? Put it back up. Perfect. Okay, a couple of things for folks that have not acolyted before. When you are acolytes, I would like you to be in the sacristy, which is the room with the sign that says sacristy, just over there on the other side of the wall, okay? Yeah, it's real tough. What was that, Brody? You thought that was a bathroom. It's across the hall from the bathroom. It says sacristy on it. And so about 15 minutes before the service starts, on the day that you are assigned to acolyte, please be there and I can kind of give you instructions if there's anything that is out of the ordinary to do. On regular worship days, you have two responsibilities as an acolyte. The first is to use this thing to light these three candles, the two up here and the Christ candle, which is over here, except during Advent when we got the wreath, but I'll talk to you about that another time. And then to help with communion by holding a basket. It's super easy. When I say communion assistants come forward, you come and you stand right here. We serve you communion. You get a basket. You go where I tell you. You stand there and you hold the basket. People put cups in the basket. Easy as pie, right? And those are really the two jobs when you're acolyting. It's lighting the candles, and you sit down here in front. You write up your sermon note, the whole service, and then when I call you up for communion, you help out with that. After the service is done, you go up here, use the snuffer, snuff out the candles, and then bring this back to the sacristy, okay? If you don't know where this goes in the sacristy, it's just in the back corner, or you can just leave it somewhere in there. I'll find it and put it away for you. That's basically acolyting. Any questions about how to be an acolyte? Awesome. Yes, Pastor Chris.
What time should they be here before the service?
Oh, does anybody know the answer to what time they should be here before the service? Brody. 5:45? That's great. That's half an hour before the service. I love that. I'm not going to require that. Yeah. 6 o'clock would be great. That's 15 minutes before the service. What about if you're serving on the 9 o'clock worship service on Sunday morning? What time should you be here? 8:45, I love it. 15 minutes before. If you can't be here 15 minutes before, if you can, please let me know. Otherwise, I'm running around like a chicken with my head cut off trying to find someone to acolyte for me. So, that's what it means to be an acolyte. Cool. We're trained. We're good to go. If you have questions about that, you can always ask me. I'm always happy to talk about it. But let us jump into our actual lesson. So, this year, we're talking about something pretty special. What's this? The Bible. What is the Bible? A book. Is it a book? Trick question. No, I heard, no. Who said no? Maddie. Why is it not a book? It's a bunch of random things, right? It's not just a book. It has a book in it. It actually has 66 different books in it. The Bible is actually a library. It's a collection of books. And you can see here, I've got a really, oops, not there. How did that happen? Oh, my thumb hit it. Hang on, going back, confirmation. Yeah, it's great. Loading slides. Okay, hang on, here we go. There we go. Oh, Apostles' Creed. All right, ignore Apostles' Creed. I must have messed up on my slides. But you can see there's a whole bunch of different books that are part of the Bible. 66 different books. There are, 39 books in the Old Testament and 27 books in the New Testament. There's a lot of... That's a baseball or a tennis ball. Oh, okay. Whose is that? Can someone come get it, please? Thank you. All right, so in the Bible, there are so many different books because each of them has a different purpose. There are some books that are history books. There are some books that are poetry books. There are some books that are prophecy. There are some books that are letters. All kinds of different things that are all used in order to communicate to us the love of God, right? They were put together by a lot of different people, written by a lot of different people over hundreds and hundreds of years that eventually got kind of refined down into this group of 66 books that we call the Bible, all right? Now we've got Old Testament books and we've got New Testament books. What in the world is a testament? Anybody know what that word means? A part of the Bible. It is a part of the Bible, but there's a reason we use the word testament when we're talking about these two parts of the Bible. We have the Old Testament, we have the New Testament. Has anybody ever heard that word? It's not one we use a lot. Yeah, Maddie. One is older and newer, that is true, but testament doesn't necessarily refer to the chronology of when they were written, okay? A testament, for the use that we're going to have here, is something that provides evidence for a truth. Like when you testify in court, you're giving evidence toward a particular truth. The way that we use testament when we talk about the Old Testament and the New Testament of the Bible is that it's a collection of writings that provide evidence for a particular truth. What is that truth? I don't know. What is that truth? That is a question that we're going to be exploring throughout this year and through all of confirmation that we might have different answers to as we move along. What it is that we're the Bible is testifying to. Something for you all to keep in mind as we have our classes is keep this question in mind. What is this Bible testifying to? What is the truth that we are talking about? So, we have the Old Testament, we have the New Testament. What makes something old or new when it comes to testaments? Isaac, I know you know, but I've called on you so much tonight. Anybody else besides Isaac and Brody know? All right, Isaac and Brody, let me know. Is he right, Brody? There you go. Yes, so the Old Testament is the stuff in the Bible that comes before Jesus, kind of leading up to Jesus. And then the New Testament, which is the part that we're studying this year, is when Jesus is born and onwards, okay? That's what makes something the New Testament. It's a testament to the teachings and practices and life and everything about Jesus Christ. Now, in the New Testament, there's also still a number of books. Man, I got that Apostles' Creed back there. I got to fix that next time. Anyway, I'll take care of that. But there's 27 books in the New Testament, and they're correlated into a bunch of different topics, different ideas, different writers. The first 4 books in the New Testament have a special name. Anybody know what the first 4 books in the New Testament are called? Yes, sir. Yes, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John are the name of those first 4 books. What do we call all those 4 together? Close. Acts is the one that comes after it, and it's connected to the book of Luke. They're called the Gospels, okay? Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John are the Gospels. They're the first 4 books of the New Testament. Why do we call them the Gospels? You guys are great. I love that you know the answer to every question. Is there anybody else that I can call out tonight? All right, let's go with Brody this time. Brody, why do we call them the Gospels? It's following the story of Jesus, right? The gospel means the good news. They are the story of Jesus on earth. We have 4 different accounts of Jesus' life, the things that he did, the things that he said, all the way from, in some cases, his birth to his death and resurrection. 2 of the Gospels talk about his birth. 2 of them kind of pick up when he gets baptized, but all of them kind of tell the story of Jesus. Now, you see that next red book up there, book of Acts. There's a reason that it's red, and it's kind of off to the side. We'll talk a little bit about that, but it's kind of a special book. It's connected to the red gospel, the Gospel of Luke, written by the same author, and it talks about what happens after Jesus went back to heaven. It's about all the things that happened with the apostles, the followers of Jesus after that. Then you've got a whole bunch of those green books, which are often called the epistles. Anybody know what that means? What an epistle is? There's no reason you should know what an epistle is, so I'm just going to tell you. Basically, it's a letter, okay? These are letters that were written mostly by one guy, we think. We don't know for sure that they were all written by him, but they're all mostly attributed to him, a guy by the name of Paul. This is kind of a picture of what he might have looked like. So Paul, we'll talk to about more as we go on through this year as well, but he wrote like a ton of the New Testament. He was someone who went around and taught in a bunch of different small churches, that first generation of Christians, and he wrote letters to them after he left. And the things that he wrote in the letters were so meaningful and so important that the churches kept the letters and they saved them, and they eventually had other people read them too, to the point where they became Scripture. They became part of the Bible. We included them in those books of the New Testament because they talked about the love of God in such important ways. Now, there's other books in the New Testament too, besides the letters of Paul. We got some other letters from a bunch of different people. And then the final book in the New Testament is the book of Revelation, which is a special kind of category. It's prophetic or apocalyptic. It's sometimes called the Revelation of John. All kinds of interesting things in that book as well. So all of these things together are what we call the New Testament. And we're going to be, as we study this New Testament, we're going to be asking that question about what in the world are they testamenting? That doesn't make sense. What are they testifying about? What is the truth that these books are talking to us about? There's also a question that we're going to be asking, which 7th and 8th graders, you're probably familiar with it, the Lutheran question. You guys remember what the Lutheran question is? I know you guys know. Yes, over here. What does this mean? Yes, the Lutheran question is, what does this mean? This is a question that Martin Luther asked a lot in his catechism. We talked about it a lot last year when we talked about his catechism. When we read the Bible, oops, I pressed that button again. When we read the Bible, we want to ask this question too. What does this mean? Why is this in the Bible? Why is what I am reading in these pages today important? What is it that God is wanting us to understand about ourselves, about the world, about God's love for us in these pages? So when we study each of the different books of the New Testament, this is another question that we want to have on our minds. What does this mean? What is this about for us today? So as we go about the study, we'll be focusing on those questions. Okay. Now, before I turn you loose into your small groups, and I think you still have enough time. Yeah, we got enough time to walk through that stuff. One thing I do want to practice is how we read the Bible, because I know that some of you have access to Bibles and you've used them before, especially 7th and 8th graders. You know how to look things up. This is good review, though. If we want to look something up in the Bible, there are 3 different pieces to what we look at. So, for example, this is Psalm 119, 105. This is the Bible verse we're going to be looking up in our small groups today. There are 3 different parts. There's the book, there's the chapter, and there's the verse. The first part is the book, right? That's kind of the general area of the Bible that you're looking at. So in this case, you look up the book of Psalms. What's the next one? What's 119? In the back. Behind Brody. Chapter, yes, 119 would be the chapter. That's the big section that you're looking for. Each book is divided into chapters. So Psalm chapter 119, and then the next part is within that chapter is what? Over here. Page, oh, close, not page. Yes. Verse, yes. So we have book, we have chapter, and we have, I can't press this fast enough, verse. Okay, so the chapter is the big number, the verse is the little number. You guys will spend some time in your small groups today practicing looking that up so you can understand how to make that happen for you. Any questions about the New Testament and what we're doing this year? Okay, small group leaders, if you haven't already, your folders are over in this box. No, don't go anywhere yet. Each week, I will have this box over on this pew that has your folder in it. It has your attendance sheets for the week, so please make sure you take time to take attendance. It also, guys, hold on, I'm not done. It has your attendance sheets for the weeks. It also has your leader and student worksheets for the weeks, as well as paper or pens or whatever else you might need. This week is a kind of a unique situation. There is no difference between the leader and the student guides. They're all the same. So you just pass them out to all your students, and you each take one as well, but those will be there. At the end of your time, sometime between 8 o'clock and 8:15 is when you'll call it quits. I will have that folder box in the office or near the entrance to the office. Please bring that back and deposit it, and that's it for the evening. Go in peace, serve the Lord, folks. Have a good, go with your small group leaders. Go with your small group leaders.